Okay, let's bring in now our Thursday panel, National Senator Matt Canavan and WA Liberal MP Basil Zempilas. Now, I'm going to start with you, Basil. Breaking news this afternoon that WA Liberal Leader Libby Mettam is standing down, this after a poor performance at the state election on March the 8th. Basil, tell us live here, are you going to throw your hat in the ring for leader of the Liberal Party in WA?
Well, firstly, Sharri, good evening to you. And Matt, you never told me it was going to be like this, and not this quickly anyway. Sharri, I will put my hand up, or at least put my hat into the ring, and I accept that between now and next Tuesday, when the Liberal Party room meeting will likely be, it's a reasonable question that I'm going to be asked, and will be asked repeatedly if I don't answer. So I think it's the right thing to do, say, yes, I will, and also to say a huge thank you to Libby Mettam for her enormous contribution as leader over the last 2 years, but in particular during the most recent election campaign. She was magnificent, even though the seats result did not reflect that.
Well, big news there. Basil Zempilas will be running for leader of the Liberal Party in WA. Basil, Libby has said that she would like to be the deputy leader of the Liberal Party. Would you like to have her as your deputy?
I really welcomed that news from Libby today. I think that's hugely important to me if I end up being the leader, and hugely important to our lower house team. Libby will be the only member of that lower house team for the Liberal Party in the West Australian Parliament with parliamentary experience, and clearly that is going to be important. I've always enjoyed working side by side with her, particularly through the campaign when we got to do it quite a lot. It felt tremendous. I think it was effective, and we enjoy each other's company professionally. And the prospect of working side by side with her to hold this Labor government to account is one that I'm really looking forward to. So, yes, I absolutely welcome that news from Libby.
I mean, she blamed leadership instability as a factor for the poor showing at the state election. Do you agree with that assessment? And I mean, there has been at least reported rivalry between the two of you. So do you accept any responsibility for this?
Sharri, there are things that I can't control, and clearly I have been the Lord Mayor of the City of Perth, and I have had a high profile in this city because of my 30-year broadcast career. And so people have made assumptions or used that form of notoriety with me to perhaps suggest things that simply weren't the case. I do accept, of course, what happened back in November, not of my doing, was unhelpful and unnecessary. But I think the election result was because of the election campaign, and more to the point, I think it was because of the absolute strength of this Labor government. And so I think people have seen those events as quite separate. And the last thing I'll say is, as Matt would know from having observed closely, it's a convention of the Liberal Party right around Australia that after an election, all leadership positions are spilled. I'm not in control of that. And Libby has decided not to put her hand up for leader. And so now, having been asked, will you put your hand up for leader? I am saying, yes, I will.
All right. Well, if she is blaming leadership instability for the result on March 8, and if she becomes your deputy, I guess you have to hope that there's no white anting going on there as revenge. Matt, any advice for Basil? Do you think you'll make a good Liberal leader in WA?
No, I think I've lost pretty much every leadership. I haven't challenged myself, but anyone I've been involved in. So all the best to Basil. I mean, we might be saying goodbye to him. This might be his last hurrah, but I do wish him all the best over there in the West, because I think, I've got a great love for the Western Australian people. I spent a lot of time there as Resources Minister. And I think Basil's right that the Labor government kind of got re-elected because Western Australia has benefited from what has been an amazing commodity price boom the last couple of years. But that's ending, that's receding. And I don't think this Labor Party government over there is doing enough to attract new investment. They haven't been able to settle the North West Shelf with the federal government. We might see more about that next week in Canberra. They've sat back and let the live export industry be destroyed. And they made a complete hash, a complete mess of the native title changes, which continue to cause issues right around the country. So, look, I think there might be a turning point at some time in the next few years when things might get a bit tougher in a more difficult commodity price environment. And Western Australia, but the whole country needs a Western Australian government that is pro-business, pro-development and gets that state moving.